Shri Paramatmane Namaham. Namaste devotees and Jai Sita Ram. I'd like to welcome each and every one of you to our regular Sunday morning satsang this beautiful April 25th, 2021. It's good to see you all, or be here with you all, after a week's break from service. Before we commence with our satsang for today, devotees, I ask that we join together as we sing this very beautiful bhajan before we commence with our service for today. स्वागत सब जन इस मंदिर हो, भक्ति की स्वाति की धार, सुंदर सुमधुर गान हमारो, रंजन सब नर नार। ईश सगुण निर्गुण विनाशी, माता पिता यार। ईश सगुण निर्गुण विनाशी, माता पिता यार। तोर माए हम वास्त सदाही, तोर भाई हम वास्त सदाही, तार हमें संसार। स्वागत सब जन इस मंदिर हो, भक्ति की स्वाति की धार, सुंदर सुमधुर गान हमारो, रंजन सब नर नार। सनातन धर्म राम राम भावे, वेद प्रकाश अलकार। सनातन धर्म राम राम भावे, वेद प्रकाश अलकार। कन्न पकन्न ओतल कावे, कन्न पकन्न ओतल कावे, ज्ञान जगत उजियार। स्वागत सब जन इस मंदिर हो, भक्ति की स्वाति की धार, सुंदर सुमधुर गान हमारो, रंजन सब नर नार। तीर्थ भाया ऊत लगावे, पुण्य यहाँ पर सार। तीर्थ माया ऊत लगावे, पुण्य यहाँ पर सार। संगति संतन नीम चलावे, संगति संतन नीम चलावे, शोभन सब व्यवहार। स्वागत सब जन इस मंदिर हो, भक्ति की स्वाति की धार, सुंदर सुमधुर गान हमारो, रंजन सब नर नार। रंजन सब नर नार, रंजन सब नर नार। At this time, devotees, I ask that you all join together with me. Go ahead and take a moment, clasp your hands and close your eyes. Clear your mind of all thoughts and take a deep breath in. As you exhale, relax your shoulders, relax your neck, relax your forehead, and straighten your spine. Take some time now with a clear mind to go ahead and focus all of your thoughts and all of your energy onto a form of Bhagwan that helps you concentrate, one that is most pleasing to you. And join together with me as we chant these opening prayers. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnata Purnamurachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate Ishavasyam Idam Sarvam Yatkincha Jagatyam Changa Tena Tyaktina Bhunjata Makrudha Kasya Swidhanam Om Sahana Vavatu सहनो भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहे तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहे हरि ओम शांति 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 हरि ओम. As we continue with our prayers, devotees, I ask that you join together with me as we all chant the most powerful Gayatri mantra. Om Agakshivare Devi Akshari Brahmavadini Gayatri Jagat Matar Vishwayoni Namostute Om Bhore Bhuvaswa Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Nः Prachodayat Om Bhore Bhuvaswa Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Nः Prachodayat Om Bhore Bhuvaswa Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Nः Prachodayat. Hari Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Prem se bolo Gayatri Mata ki Jai. As we continue on with our prayers, devotees, we offer obediences to that destroyer and remover of all obstacles in our life. We join together as we offer prayers to Lord Ganesh. Om Jananam Bhuta Ghanadi Sevitam Kapita Jammu Palachara Bhakshanam Umasutam Shoka Vinashakarikam Namami Vigneshwara Pada Pankajam Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Surya Koti Samaprabha Nirviganam Kurume Deva Sarvakarishu Sarvada Om Raksha Raksha Gana Raksha Rakshatre Lokya Rakshakar Bhaktanam Bhayam Karta Trata Bhava Bhavaranavar Om Shriman Mahaganadipate Namam Prem se bolo Ganesh Bhagwane ki Jai. As we continue on with our prayers, devotees, we offer obediences to that universal mother and that destroyer of all evils in our life. We offer prayers to Adi Shakti Durga Mata. Om Mahadunduragaye Namaham. Om Jayanti Mangala Kali Bhandra Kali Kapalini Durga Kshama Shiva Dhatri Swaha Swadha Namostute Jai Tvam Devi Chamunde Jai Putharate Niharini Jai Sarvagate Devi Kale Ratri Namostute Devi Sarvamuteshu Vishnu Mayeti Shamdita Namastasye 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 Namo Namaya Devi Sarvabhuteshu Buddhi Rupena Samstita Namastasye 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 Namo Namaya Devi Sarvabhuteshu Lakshmi Rupena Samstita Namastasye 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 Namo Namaya Devi Sarvabhuteshu Shakti Rupena Samstita Namastasye 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 Namo Namaya Devi Sarvabhuteshu Shraddha Rupena Samstita Namastasye 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 Namo Namaya Devi Sarvabhuteshu Shanti Rupena Samstita Namastasye 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 Namo Namaya Devi Sarvabhuteshu Tushti Rupena Samstita Namastasye 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 Namo Namaya Devi Sarvabhuteshu Daya Rupena Samstita Namastasye 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 Namo Namah Ya Devi Sarvabhuteshu Matrirupena samsita. Namastasye, namastasye, namastasye namo namah. As we pray, so Durga Mata, thou art the universal supporter, the universal mother, and we, your children, worship you in your many forms. O Ma, we see you as Buddhi, wisdom, Lakshmi, prosperity, Shakti, energy, Shraddha, faith, Shanti, peace, Tushti, contentment, and Daya, compassion. As we pray to you, Ma, Namastasye, 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 Namo Namaha. We bow to thee again and again. Dehi Saubhagyam Narogyam, Dehi me Paramam Sukham, Rupam Nehi Jayam Nehi, Yasho Nehi Tushojahi. Om Prem Sarvani Shakti Durga Mata Ki Jai. At this time, devotees, we continue on with our prayers to the most influential beings in our life and in this universe. We offer obeisances and prayers to the 9 planets, or as we know them in Sanatana Dharma, the Navagraha Devata. Navagraha Devataye Namaham. Brahma Murari Stripura Takari Bhanu Shashi Bhume Suto Buddhascha Guruscha Shukraha Shanirahu Ketua Sarve Graha Shanti Kada Bhavantu Sarve Graha Shanti Kada Bhavantu. As we continue on with our prayers, devotees, we offer obeisances to that being that exists in the form of the sun, that being that sustains all life on this planet as we know it. We offer prayers to Surya Narayan Bhagwan. Om Suryaya Namaha, 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 Suryaya Namaha. Adideva Namastobhyam Prasiddha Mama Bhashkaram Divakaran Namastobhyam Prabhakaran Namustuti. Suryaya Namaha, Suryaya Namaha, Suryaya Namaha, Suryaya Namaha. Om Prem Savanam Grahani Vataki Jai. Prem se bolo Surya Narayana Bhagwan ki Jai. At this time, devotees, we offer prayers now to that sustainer of all things dharmic and all things righteous in this universe. We offer prayers to Lord Vishnu. Om Shri Vishnave Namaham. Om Shantakaram Vajagashayanam Bhadmanabham Suresham Vishwadharam Gagane Sadrasham Meghavarnam Shubhangam. Om Lakshmi Kantam Kamalanayanam Yogi Bhira Dhyana Gamyam Vande Vishnu Bhavabhaya Haram Sarvaloki Kanatam. Om Sashankha Chakram Sakirita Kundhalam Sapita Vastram Sarasi Ruheshanam Sahara Vakshastala Shobhi Kaustubha Shriyam Namami Vishnu Shirasa Chaturbhujam. Namami Vishnu Shirasa Chaturbhujam. Om Prem se bolo Vishnu Bhagwan ki Jai. And finally, devotees, I ask that you all join together with me as we offer prayers to that universal Father and that universal Guru, as we offer prayers to that destroyer of all evils in our life and in this universe, as we offer prayers to Lord Shiva. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om संसारसारं भुजगेन्द्रहारं सदा सन्तं हृदयारविन्दे भवं भवानी सहितं नमामि भवं भवानी सहितं नमामि ब्रह्ममुरारिसुरार्चितलिङ्गं निर्मलभासितशोभितलिङ्गं जनमजदुःखविनाशकलिङ्गं तत् प्रणमामि सदा शिवलिङ्गं तत् प्रणमामि सदा शिवलिङ्गं देवमुनिप्रवार्चितलिङ्गं कामदहं करुणाकरलिङ्गं रावणदर्पविनाशनलिङ्गं तत् प्रणमामि सदा शिवलिङ्गं तत् प्रणमामि सदा शिवलिङ्गं सर्वसुगन्धिसुलेपितलिङ्गं भुन्निविवर्धनकारणलिङ्गं सिद्धसुरवन्दितलिङ्गं तत् प्रणमामि सदा शिवलिङ्गं तत् प्रणमामि सदा शिवलिङ्गं कनकमहामणिभूषितलिङ्गं फणिपतिवेष्टितशोभितलिङ्गं दक्षसूयज्ञविनाशनलिङ्गं तत् प्रणमामि सदा शिवलिङ्गं तत् प्रणमामि सदा शिवलिङ्गं कुङ्कुमचन्दनलेपितलिङ्गं पङ्कजहारसुशोभितलिङ्गं संक्षिप्तपापविनाशनलिङ्गं तत् प्रणमामि सदा शिवलिङ्गं तत् प्रणमामि सदा शिवलिङ्गं देवगणार्चितसेवितलिङ्गं भावैर्भक्तिभिरेव च लिङ्गं दिनकरकोटिप्रभाकरलिङ्गं तत् प्रणमामि सदा शिवलिङ्गं प्रणमामि सदा शिवलिङ्गम् अष्टदलोपरिवेष्टितलिङ्गं सर्वसमुद्भवकारणलिङ्गम् अष्टधरीन्द्रविनाशितलिङ्गं तत् प्रणमामि सदा शिवलिङ्गं तत् प्रणमामि सदा शिवलिङ्गं सुरगुरुसुरवरपूजितलिङ्गं सुरवनपुष्पसदार्चितलिङ्गं परमात्मकलिङ्गं तत् प्रणमामि सदा शिवलिङ्गं तत् प्रणमामि सदा शिवलिङ्गं तत् प्रणमामि सदा शिवलिङ्गम् ॐ लिङ्गष्टकम् इदं पुण्यं यः पते शिवसन्निधौ शिवलोकमवाप्नोति शिवेन सह मोदते ॐ नमः शिवाय. Devotee, we offer this next prayer for all those suffering from various illnesses, diseases, injuries, and ailments. We ask that they may have a fast, speedy, and full recovery. We also offer a prayer for those transitioning from this world to the next. May their passage be a smooth and tranquil one. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukamiv Vandanat Mrityurmukshyo Mamrutat Om Trayambakam Yajame Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukamiv Vandanat Mrityurmukshyo Mamrutat Om Trayambakam Yajame Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukamiv Vandanat Mrityurmukshyo Mamrutat Om Gangarapate Namaha Om Kartikeya Namaha Om Nandishwaraya Namaha Om Vasukiya Namaha Om Shri Samasada Shivaya Namaha Om Prem Spura Shiva Shankara Bhagwan Ki Jai. Devotees, before we continue on with our sermon for today, I want to yet again thank Uncle Walter and Auntie Sarani for recording a bhajan and sending it in. We will listen to that bhajan at this time, and then we'll move on to our sermon.
Govinda Deti Sada Snanam Govinda Deti Sada Japam Govinda Deti Sada Dhyanam Sada Govinda Kirtanam Govinda Krishna Hari Om Gopala Krishna Hari Om Govinda Krishna Hari Om Gopala Krishna Hari Om Govinda Krishna Hari Om Radha Ramana Hari Om Govinda Krishna Hari Om Gopala Krishna Hari Om Radha ke sang Murali bajave Gopiyan ke sang Rasa rachave Sabko nachave Hari Om Gopala Krishna Hari Om Govinda Krishna Hari Om Radha Ramana Hari Om Prem ki bas hi tu fik jave Drupada Sutta ki jutan kave Prem ki bas hi tu fik jave Drupada Sutta ki jutan kave Sab sukh pave Hari Om Man bhar ave Hari Om Govinda Krishna Hari Om Gopala Krishna Hari Om Govinda Krishna Hari Om Radha Ramana Hari Om
Once again, I would like to thank Uncle Walter for recording the bhajan and sending it in, for Auntie Sarani to actually getting the email in over to us so I could play it live on our YouTube channel. Devotees, for those of you who have something that you'd like to say, any bhajans you'd like to sing, whether it be for a special occasion or whether it be for a regular Sunday morning satsang, please do record those and send them in. Any accolades, too, that have accomplished over the weeks, like something that may have happened to your kid at school or something that may have happened to you at work, please send those in. I'd like to still recognize and continue recognizing the community until we can safely all get back together here for our regular Sunday morning services at the actual Mandir. So with that being said, devotees, if you could please send those things in. When you get some time, just record them, send them on to me. I will edit them, put them in the correct format, and we'll put them live on our YouTube channel. But thank you again to Uncle Walter and Auntie Sarani for sending in that beautiful bhajan. Devotees, before we continue on with our sermon, I'd like for those of us who have a guru to offer prayer to our guru right at this moment. If not, then I ask that you take any form of Bhagwan that is most pleasing to you, one that you worship the most as your universal guru, then join together with me as we pray. Om Guru Brahma Guru Vishnu Guru Deo Maheshwara Guru Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. Om Dhyana Moolam Guru Murti Puja Moolam Guru Param Mantra Moolam Guru Vakyam Moksha Moolam Guru Kripat Prem Se Guru Deo Ki Jai. Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama 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 Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama. Devotees, during our last turn, we ended in chapter 13 and verses 27 and 28 of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita, in which Bhagwan Shri Krishna is telling Arjuna about what a jiva is, what the kshetra, that field is, and the kshetra jana is, the knower of the field. We ended last week with Bhagwan Shri Krishna telling Arjuna, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama Yavat Samjayate Kimchit Sattvam Stavara Jangamam Kshetra Kshetra Jatsam Yonghat Tad Vidhi Bharatar Sabha Samam Sarvesu Bhutesu Distantam Parameswaram Vinasyatsva Vinasyantam Yapasyati Sapasyati Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama. Again, devotees, we ended on verses 27 and 28 of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita. And remember, at the very beginning of this chapter, Arjuna had posed a very specific question to Bhagwan Shri Krishna. He said he wants to know what Prakriti, what is nature, what is Purusa, the enjoyer, what is Kshetra, what is the field, what is Kshetra Jna, the knower of the field, what is Jnana, knowledge, and what is Jnaya, the object of knowledge. And throughout the entirety of chapter 13, Bhagwan Shri Krishna has been answering these questions. But what he says in verse 27 to Arjuna is that, O best of the Bharatas, know that whatever moving and non-moving beings are born, all are produced from the combination of Kshetra and Kshetra Jana, which is the field and the knower of the field. So they're born and created from the field and the knower of the field. Right? We have to know how to create human life going forward. In verse 28, and this is where we ended, only one who sees Parameswara equally in all beings and who understands that neither the soul nor the supersoul within the destructible body is ever destroyed actually sees. And we ended with, what did Bhagwan Shri Krishna just say to Arjuna? What did he say, and how do we interpret what he just said? So again, reading it word for word, one who sees Parameswara equally in all living beings and who understands that neither the soul nor the supersoul with the destructible body is ever destroyed actually sees. So, what he's saying here, and something that we all recognize, and we say it all the time, God is here, God is there, God is everywhere. Bhagwan exists in all living beings. However, it's not to say that God exists more in me than he does in the person sitting next to me. I'm a pundit. I am a pundit, but my soul is a spark of God. The other living being who is maybe next to me, there's nobody in this room right now other than me, but the other living being who may be next to me, let's say they're not a pundit, that doesn't make them any less better than I am. That doesn't make their soul any less than mine is. Our souls are equal. The things that we carry within us are equal. Because you have more money, because you have a certain status in life, because you have a certain skill set, does not make you better than the person next to you. Yeah, you may be better at doing that one specific thing, but it does not make you a better person than the person sitting next to you. So if you understand that, and understand that that soul that is equal in every single person is not destroyed, even though the body is destroyed, actually sees. You actually know, you understand the world. You understand that that soul living within inside of us is there, and it's housed, and it will never be destroyed. Because once this physical body leaves, that soul will move on to its next journey. But you've also got to understand that the soul in each person is equal. It's equal. We all have the same amount of God inside of us. And I want you to think about that the next time you're in an argument with somebody, because it's not the soul that's inside of them, what Bhagavan Shri Krishna says. He goes on to say in verse 29, just to explain it a little bit further about what that statement means, what he just said in verse 28. Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Samam Pasyam Hi Sarvatra, Samavastitam Iswaram, Nahi Nastyatmanatmanam, Tattvayati Param Gatim, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama. In verse 29, Bhagavan Shri Krishna tells Arjuna, that person who understands and knows and sees that Parameswara dwells equally everywhere in all beings does not degrade himself by his mind. Thus he attains the supreme destination. So how is it by seeing Parameswara equally in all living beings do you attain supreme destination? How is that a thing? That means that you treat everybody the same exact way. I shouldn't say everybody, every living being the same exact way. Every living being. Whether it be a cricket, a cockroach, whether it be that spider crawling on the wall, the earthworms that are moving around outside, the squirrels in the trees, your next door neighbor, a family pet you may have. You treat everybody equally, and you understand that because of our prakriti, because of our nature, sometimes not everybody acts the same, but it's still up to us to treat everybody equally, fairly, with respect. It always bugs me when I see somebody say that they're a Brahmin, or say that they're a pundit, and then demand this absolute respect and authority and respect and ask for more than what the normal person's getting. Because that doesn't show that you actually understood life, that you understood the scriptures. Because the scriptures tell us that we're all equal. We all have that equal spark of God in us. We all have that equal spark of God in us. So one who sees Parameswara dwelling equally everywhere in all beings does not degrade himself by mind. He attains the supreme destination. I want to know, do we see examples of that in our society? Do we see examples of that within our own members? And the answer is yeah. Yeah, we do. I want to give a big shout out to somebody. I read this online. Congratulations to a 6th grade student for being recognized by their positive officer for showing leadership, kindness, and support to others. Okay, so listen to those 3 things. Leadership, kindness, and support to others. Leadership means that you recognize that everybody around you is going to need some help in some way, shape, or form, so you guide them in the right direction. You do it with kindness in your heart, making sure that they're smiling and you're smiling at the same time. And you're supporting them along the way. No matter what decision they're making, you're letting them perform their yajna, perform their sacrifice, perform their duties, their karma, to succeed. So I want to give a big shout out to Anna, or Ariana De Freitas, because Anna won this award. She got this congratulations, a positive office referral from her school for showing leadership, kindness, and support. And Anna, I want you to know, if you're listening, and if you can hear me, that you are an example of what verse 29 is talking about in the Srimad Bhagavad Gita. One who sees Parameswara dwelling equally everywhere. You see everybody's equal. You're trying to support your community. You're trying to make sure that everybody's brought up while not putting yourself in front or ahead of other people. Living examples of the Bhagavad Gita are around us all the time. The kids in our community are expressing it. When I look at John and Shani's kids and how much they're doing with sports and how successful they're being with themselves and with their teammates, that makes me happy. When I look at Ishan and Anna being so good with the things that they're doing with their community and their support, it makes me happy. When I look at Ashwarya and Tejas and see how they're helping us out, how they're doing different things around the house, how they're supporting their parents, it makes me happy because it shows me that as they grow up, they're learning to treat people equally and not trying to discriminate. Just know that discrimination in our community, in our lives, in our world is intolerable, is unacceptable, because it is the antithesis of what verses 28 and verses 29 of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita are trying to tell us. We have to see Parameswara. We have to see that spark of God equally in all living beings. We treat all beings equally, and once we treat all beings equally and we understand that concept, devotees, we won't degrade our own mind, and thus we will attain moksha, we'll attain the supreme destination. Can you imagine treating everybody equally? It should be as simple as that. However, it's not. And why is it not that simple, devotees? Because right now we're talking about seeing things in people, in the jivas. We're talking about kshetra, which is the field, and kshetrana, the knowledge of the field. But what is it that changes how we treat other people? Well, Bhagavan Shri Krishna goes on to tell Arjuna further in verses 30 and 31. He tells Arjuna, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Prakrityaiva Chakarmani, Kriyamanani Sarvasa, Yapasyati Tatatnanam, Akartaram sapasyati yadha bhuta pratang bhavam ekastam anupasyati tatta eva cha vistaram brahma sampanyate tada. Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama. Further on, Bhagavan Shri Krishna tells Arjuna in verses 30 and 31, one who sees that all activities are only performed by Prakriti and that the Atma is not the doer, actually sees. So we have to break down these two words. Prakriti is nature and Atma is soul. So what he's saying is that activities are performed because of our nature, not because of the soul. The soul is not the doer, it's the jiva and the prakriti, their nature. They are the ones who are performing these acts. It's not the soul that causes it. The soul gives us life. The soul maintains us. The soul pushes us through this world. But it does not change who we are in nature. When he sees that the diverse natures of living beings abide in Prakriti alone and understands them all to be born from that same Prakriti, he attains realization of Brahma. He attains situation or realization of Brahma. So understanding this a little bit more, we have to understand that the actions performed by all the jivas, all living beings, is influenced by our prakriti, our nature, not influenced by our atma, our soul. Our nature in previous lives affects where our soul is today, thus changing our nature now. It changes our nature now. When we see that diverse natures of living beings abide in the nature of us alone and understand them to be born of that same nature, we will attain the realization of Brahma. So again, breaking that down. When he sees that the diverse natures of living beings abide in Prakriti alone, so our diverse natures, right, abide in our personal natures and understands them to be born from that same nature, we attain realization of Brahma alone. How are we all born? To break this down a little bit further, let it make more sense. How are we all born? Are we all born with the same exact nature is the question to start off with. Difficult question, but are we all born with the same nature? An answer to that, quite honestly, kind of. Kind of. I'm not going to tell you yes, I'm not going to tell you no. Because there's some traits that you get from your mother and father personally, right, at the time of birth. But there are other things that are formed by the environment around you, nature versus nurture. What is the nature doing for you? What is nurture doing for you? And how does that shape your own personal nature? One of the shows that makes me think about how this works, and it's not the brightest show out there in the world, is Criminal Minds, for any of you who've seen that show. So the Criminal Minds is about a group of investigators who work for the FBI for something called the BAU, the Behavioral Analysis Unit. And what they do is they look psychologically into the minds of killers to track down murderers and bring them to justice. And you'll find, and most often than not, there's a trigger in these people's lives. They've been stressed for most of their lives. There's a trigger that causes them to act in the way that they do. Does that mean to say that at the time of birth they were determined to be a killer? That their prakriti at the time of birth when they were babies, they were a killer? No. The way that their nature was affected by other people at them through their entire lives affected how they were as they got older, affected their actions, affected who they were. That's why when you read any scripture, it says that when you keep good company, when you're around good people, you yourself will be a good person. When you're around bad company, when you're around bad people, that's not to say that you're going to be bad, but your chances of being a not good person increase. Those odds increase. So the diverse natures of people are brought about by the natures that are impressed upon them. And if we can understand that the nature of different people is derived from the nature they're brought up in, we can understand and attain the realization of Brahma, because the natures that we have and express, our attitudes, our emotions, the way we talk and treat other people, is affected by how we were brought up, how we grow up. But until we can see that everybody's equal in our own eyes, we'll never attain Brahma. So to the children, understand that when your parents are telling you something, it's because they want you to grow up in the right way. At least for the parents that I know in this community. Today we know that Shivani, and I'll give her a bigger shout out here at the end of service, left for a new venture. She went to Seattle. I almost said Chicago. I'm sorry, Shivani. She's on her way to Seattle to start her new job, away from her family, away from a lot of her friends, away from her community. But at heart, Shivani is a really kind and wonderful person, because she was brought up by two really kind and wonderful people. Her nature dictates that she's going to be kind to everybody and anybody. That's who she is. That's who a lot of these kids in this community look like. Great prakritis, great natures. So for the kids, your parents tell you something to help you grow up. But for the parents, understand that your children are sponges too. Everything you do, everything you say, every emotion and action you take, they will absorb and will reflect just as powerfully. So if you yell all the time, if you beat your children, if you're a drunk, an alcoholic, if you smoke, if you do bad things in front of your kids and you let them see it, just know that you are teaching them that that is what the world is. That's what they need to be. I've mentioned this before too. With all living beings, this is truth. The nature of a living being is brought about by the environment around them. Serena and I adopted a dog at the beginning of February. And we're doing everything in our power to make sure that as she gets bigger and older, she is a very well-behaved, non-aggressive dog. And how do we make her not aggressive? We train her not aggressively. We don't spank the dog. We don't throw her in places. We don't yell at her. Oh, I mean, I've yelled at her once or twice. I'm not going to lie about that. But we don't constantly yell at her. If you raise a creature, a living being, with love and respect and kindness, guess what that creature's going to grow up to be? A creature of love and respect and kindness. That is what the Bhagavad Gita tells us. That soul within that creature in me is the same exact thing, but by nature, if I have the correct nature around them, they will grow up to be wonderful in nature. They too can attain Brahma at some point because of their nature. Wrapping up with the last 4 verses of chapter 13 of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita, in verses 32, 33, and 35. 32, 33, 34, and 35. Bhagavan Shri Krishna tells Arjuna this very important last point that we all need to understand about what is Parameswara, what is Paramatma, what is our soul, and how does it pervade this body. Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, 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 Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama. Anadi Twan Nirgun Tvaka Paramatmayam Avyaya Sari Rastum Te Kaunteya Nakarute Nalipyate Yatha Sarvan Gatam Sauksmyar Aksam No Balipyate Sarvatra Vastito Nehi Tata Manopalipyate Yata Prakasayati Kha Kritsnam Lokam Kiram Rabhi Kshetram Kshetri Tata Kritsnam Brahmasayati Bharata Kshetra Kshetra Jnayor Evam Antaram Jnana Chapsusa Bhota Prakriti Moksam Cha Ye Viduryanti Te Param Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama. To end devotees, Bhagavan Shri Krishna tells Arjuna, O Kaunteya, because he is without beginning, he being Bhagavan, your soul, your Atma, Anadi, and free from the three modes, Nirguna, this imperishable Paramatma, this great soul, though situated in the body, neither performs karma nor becomes entangled in the results of karma. Just as the all-pervading sky does not mix with anything due to its subtle nature, in the same way the Atma who has attained Brahma realization in the wake of Paramatma is unaffected by the qualities or the faults of the material body, even though he pervades it. So it's hard to think, because we say that our soul, the next life that it lives, the Atma, the next life that it lives, is dependent on the actions we take. But what Bhagavan Shri Krishna here is saying is that that soul is imperishable. It's situated in the body, but it does not perform karma and is not entangled in the results of karma. Not entangled in the results of karma. But it's not entangled within the results of karma if you have realized what Paramatma is. If you've attained that Brahma realization. If you see all living beings equally, then the qualities or faults of the material body will not affect that Paramatma, that soul, that great soul, even though it pervades this body. So we say that sometimes we have good intentions, sometimes we do things, and those things have sin associated with them, even though we don't know those consequences. Even though we don't know those consequences. We go outside and we spray bug spray on ourselves because we don't want to get bitten by a mosquito. However, sometimes that bug spray is adverse to the mosquito. Sometimes the aerosol in the can is bad for the sky and the environment. Right? And therefore we've kind of sinned because we've hurt the earth. But from one who's realized and is doing this with no ill intent, who's just trying to do something and understanding that the world is equal and trying to live in the world, that sin is not affected upon them. Om Bharata, just as one sun illuminates the whole universe, in the same way Paramatma illuminated the entire body with consciousness. It's what gives us our thought, it's what gives us our feeling, it's what gives us our emotions, our life. In this way, O Arjuna, those with the eyes of spiritual knowledge who become conversant with the difference between kshetra and kshetrajna, which is the field, and knowing the field, and the jiva, means of deliverance from prakriti, attain the supreme abode. So if we understand the field, if we understand how the field works externally, internally, our muscles, our organs, if we understand how the nature works, if we understand how nature is derived from everybody, if we understand that this field, that true knowledge, what's inside of me is a spark of God, and that spark of God is equal in every single person, we will attain the supreme abode. But it's hard, devotees. It's hard, because when we look at somebody, what do we see? When we look at another kshetra, when we look at another field, what do we see? We see that prakriti. And instead of understanding that that prakriti is something that was brought about by the nature of the person, how they grew up, what their environment was like, we instead just put them in a category. We call them a bad person. We say they were in a bad place, and we ignore them. We downplay them. We make them bad people in our minds. You don't know what somebody's gone through their entire life unless you've raised them. And even then, you still don't know all the details about that person. You have no right to judge others. Looking around again in our community, look at all of our kids. Look at Shivani, Nirvani, how much they do for their community. How they're rolling up calendars and sending them out. Look at Randy and Roxanne when they come to Mandir. They will sit down. They will be quiet, respectful. They'll get up and help without even having to ask to be helped. Tejas and Ashwari will do the same thing. Passing Artira and Ishan and Anna. All the kids that I grew up with as well. Uncle Walter's grandkids. You know, Shani and John's children. If you look at all of these kids, they're being raised in a great community because we're teaching them and giving them a good nature. But understand that everybody has their own turmoils they go through. It's up to us, devotees, to understand that each and every single one of us is equal. We have to treat everybody equally. That life that person lives is brought about the nature they were grown up with, and that you have to understand that that's where that nature came from. But don't judge them. Don't treat them. Don't change the way you look at them. We have a duty to make the world a better place. Chapter 13 says that. We have a duty to protect each other, protect one another, put political differences aside, religious differences aside, personal differences aside, live together and make each other stronger, and yet we continue to fall apart in that means. That's what Kali Yuga is. Fight the darkness, devotees. Bring light back into the world. I know that we say we wait for Bhagwan Vishnu to do that, but understand Bhagwan Vishnu is inside of each and every single one of you. So do we really have to wait for an incarnation? Or can we let our souls do the talking for us? Prem se Bolo, Shri Krishna Chandra Bhagwan ki Jai. Devotees, before we end for today, I'd like for you all to join together with me one last time. Go ahead. Clasp your hands and close your eyes. I want you to take a deep breath in. And as you exhale, relax your body, relax your shoulders, relax your mind, relax your forehead. Remove all stress away from you. Push away all of your problems at this time. Clear your mind. Go ahead and focus on a form of Bhagwan that is most pleasing to you. That could be a form or image of Lord Ganesh. It could be a diya. It could be a lotus flower. Something that helps you focus on God. And join together with me as we chant these closing prayers. Om Sarvesham Swasti Bhavatu Sarvesham Shanti Bhavatu Sarvesham Pururam Bhavatu Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu Om Sarve Sukhino Bhavantu Sarve Santu Niramaya Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschit Dukhabhag Bhavet Om Mantrahinam Kriyahinam Bhaktahinam Janardanam Yetya Pujitam Maya Deva Paripurnam Dharastu Me Papoham Papu Karmaham Papu Atma Papu Sambhavat Rahimam Pudarikaksham Sarva Papu Haro Hari Om Tvameva Matascha Pita Tvameva Tvameva Bandhuscha Sakha Tvameva Tvameva Vidya Dravinam Tvameva Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva Om Asatoma Sagamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityuma Mritam Gamaya Hari Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Om Guru Brahma Guru Vishnu Guru Deo Maheshwara Guru Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Om Nyau Shanti Antare Antariksham Shantir, Prithvi Shantir, Apa Shantir, Aushadeya Shantir, Vanaspati Shantir, Vishwadeva Shantir, Brahma Shantir, Sarvengvam Shantir, Shantireva Shanti Sama, Shanti Devi, Hari Om Shanti, Shanti Shanti, Hari Om Tat Sat. Prem se bolo Ganesh Bhagwan ki जय. प्रेम से बोलो नवग्रह देवता की जय. प्रेम से बोलो आदि शक्ति दुर्गा माता की जय. प्रेम से बोलो विष्णु भगवान की जय. प्रेम से बोलो शिव शंकर भगवान की जय. प्रेम से बोलो शिव शक्ति मंदिर की जय. प्रेम से बोलो सनातन धर्म की जय. Devotees, with that, we have come to the end of our Sunday morning satsang, and I'd like to thank each and every one of you for being here today. Just a few announcements. I want to talk about a few things from our president. The first and foremost thing that I want to let everybody know is that here in the state of Georgia, and I'm not sure what it's like in other states, I know that it's opening up, but for here in the state of Georgia, if you are 16 or older, you are allowed to get the COVID-19 vaccine. The vaccine, looking at numerous publishings and studies, has been very beneficial. Yes, some folks have had adverse side effects, but I want you to keep in mind from a medical professional standpoint, and what I know, what I've seen, what we have talked about at work, is that for those who are getting the vaccine, you run that same risk with any vaccination. Those who got the flu shot, they also get adverse effects too. There is a percentage of the population who will get an adverse effect, but that shouldn't deter you, because we have medical professionals on standby to provide treatment for those who may have an adverse effect. Usually it's more of an allergic effect where there's some sort of swelling. But if you have the opportunity to get the vaccine, I highly encourage that you do so. It'll help the curve go down. It'll help us and allow us to all come together sooner rather than later. But I want you to understand one thing, and some things that I want to debunk. First and foremost is that if you've already gotten COVID, that doesn't mean you're immune to COVID. There is no research out there that proves the duration of time you are immune to the disease, even if you've gotten it. And even then, if you've gotten COVID, I want you to keep in mind you've only gotten one strain of COVID. There's multiple strains out there. So right now, if you have some antibodies or immunity, it is to that specific strain, not to others. By getting this vaccine, you will be more protected against all strains of COVID-19. Now, if you have a personal belief as to not getting it, I am not trying to force you to do so. My job and my ask and my encouragement is that you do get that vaccine. It protects you, it protects the spread, it protects others around us so that we can all get together soon. Check the Department of Health website at your local state to find out more about where you can get your vaccines. Try to sign up to do so, and hopefully we can get vaccinated. We can all come together and be together soon. The reason I mentioned all the kids today is because I was thinking, man, I miss Mandir. I miss my Mandir family. I miss getting together with everybody on every Sunday. So the sooner this curve can goes down, the sooner we can all eliminate this disease from our life, the sooner we can get together. Continue to reach out and check on each other as well, devotees, because you never know what could happen to somebody, especially in our community. Even younger folks, older folks, people in the middle, reach out to one another. Make sure everybody's doing okay. Mental health is just as important as physical health. And to hear from somebody, to extend that reach out, to show that you have a heart to somebody else, caring for somebody else, love for somebody else is what I mean by that, is very important. We do want to wish Shivani, as I mentioned, very safe travels and much success as she begins her working career. Now, with that being said, that's how my dad worded it. Shivani actually started her job last year when the pandemic kicked in, and she was supposed to be stationed out of Seattle, but because of the pandemic, they weren't moving people around. They were able to work remotely, but as things are starting to clear up, they're actually bringing everybody back into home base. So as I said, Shivani is moving from the southeast coast of the United States to the northwest coast of the United States, very far away from her family, from her friends, from her entire community, but we know that she's going to do amazing, fantastic things. The support for her is always here. We can always reach out to her whenever she needs us. Shivani, just know that if you ever need us, we're one phone call away and one flight away. Most of us are not most of us are not scared to hop on a plane and come help you out whenever you need us. So congratulations to her, and safe journeys, safe travels as you begin this next step in your life. Before I move on to birthdays, devotees, I do want to mention one special event that we have coming up, and that is tomorrow. Let me open up my calendar and make sure I'm telling you the right date and time. Tomorrow, which is April 26th, that's Monday, is Hanuman Jayanti. We will be doing our Hanuman Jayanti Puja. That'll be done 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time here live on our YouTube channel, just like our Ram Navami Puja was. Again, that is 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And from that point on, devotees, There are some events that will be coming up in the near future, but we will not be doing anything separate for them, such as Suradas and Adiguru Shankaracharya Jayanti, Sita Jayanti, Ganga Dashami, Father's Day, Mother's Day, Guru Purnima. We'll talk about different things related to those, but we won't have separate individual Mandir-related events for them. But just know that Hanuman Jayanti service is tomorrow, Monday, April 26th at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I hope you can all come out and join us for that. And to finish up, devotees, birthdays. It's been about 2 weeks, and we have a lot of folks who have celebrated birthdays that we have not been able to give a shout out to. So to my Anita Bauji all the way over in Texas, very happy birthday to you. Same to my Varen Dada as well. To my Sunil Dada living down in Florida, happy birthday to you, Dada. To my I call her Big Mama. Technically, she is my Chachi, but she's my oldest Chachi. She's my Big Mama. She's been there since I was a kid. Always taking care of me. Always fed me. Always made sure that I was raised and done the right thing. So to my Big Mama Sunita Jagnanan, happy birthday to you as well. To our founding pundit, to the man who was there when we started our organization, who helped lay the groundwork and who helped lay the groundwork for me to be the pundit I am today. To my godfather, Tej Pratap Tiwari, happy birthday to you. To another very strong man in our community who has paved the foundation for a lot of us youngsters, who has taught us skills beyond just reading a book, but learning to use our hands, Uncle Jagdish, happy birthday to you. To my niece Ashwarya, who celebrated your 13th birthday, very happy birthday to you. We're working on getting you something special, so just stay tuned for that, Ashwarya, happy birthday to you. To Indira, who celebrated her birthday the day after. To my cousin and my sister Indira, happy birthday to you. To Auntie Deomati as well, happy birthday to you. We hope you and Uncle Rick have celebrated. Maybe he bought you a new car. If not, then tell him to call me. I'll convince him to buy you a new car. And to Kathy, somebody that I grew up with well and one of our members of our Mandir, who's doing very well in life, happy birthday to you, Kathy Sukraj, as well. We also want to give a very special shout out to Uncle Walter and Auntie Sarani, not only for continuously supporting the virtual streams, as well as their family supporting and sending in the bhajans, but on their anniversary. So to Uncle Walter and Auntie Sarani, happy anniversary to you both. We wish you love, happiness, and we hope that you celebrated your day wonderfully and got some time to relax. Devotees, with that, I have no more announcements to share with you all for today. Again, I want to thank you for your continued support here with our virtual Sunday morning satsangs. I want to continue to thank you for your continued support for the Mandir. For those of you who go on a regular basis to clean up, do the yard work, change the clothes on the mortis, make sure everything stays clean, orderly, and tidy. Thank you all so much for your continued support. And as always, devotees, you have a safe, wonderful, happy, and healthy week. If you're not here for our Hanuman Jayanti Puja tomorrow, then I hope that you all will be here with us again next Sunday for our regular Sunday morning satsang. Have a fantastic week, devotees. Jai Sita Ram.